Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and jump us right into the new updates to version 2.0 software for Envivo Replay. To begin with, it's a lot about speed of jumping around within the file system itself, going to different bins, calling up clips, and making that fast. So to begin with, let's start out with bins. Just to jump to bin 2, I type the number 2 and I hit enter, and it takes me right to that bin. Hit 3, hit enter, you get the idea. Real fast. Bin 9, I jump to bin 9. I really like how fast this is just to jump around 2 bins, looking around in them, and I get to see anything that I want within those bins. Now, clips have a 3-digit address. I'm really excited about this as well. So if I just type in 102 and then Charlie for the C angle, it queues up the C angle. I'm really liking how this is going for me. The fact that it's just very quick to jump around, and even if I type in just 101, it'll give me the first angle in 101. So even if I went to a location that I can't see, a bin that I can't see, type 301, hit enter, and we jump right to bin 3, and it gives me the first clip in that row. And then it also goes with my favorite angle, the angle that I was on when I created the clip, and queues that up to the surface as well. So super fast of jumping around within those areas. Now, playlists get 3 digits, and this is what's really cool. So I'm going to type in 001, and it queues up playlist 1. If I went 002 and called that up, you can see it calls up playlist 2. But what I want you to also be aware of is what happened on the left-hand side, is that it opened up playlist bin for me. When we were looking at bin 1, and then I typed in 001, hit enter, it jumped me right to the playlist bin. And I really like this fact because now I get to see what other playlists that I was working on. Maybe it wasn't just playlist 1 that I wanted, but I get to see all of them. Even if I went 099, and I can jump down to playlist 99. And I think that's really, really fantastic about how quick that is just to jump around within the playlist and queuing things up. And again, anytime that I want, I just type 1, enter, and I get back to bin 1 where I was working on the show and creating my clips. Super fast. Really excited about how fast we're getting to move around within Envivo Replay. I think one fantastic thing to point out that's in our record setup is going to be all of the different things that we do in the 1080p space, and to utilize some really nice entertainment flavors. But the fact that we're doing this within the system just speaks about how powerful Envivo Replay really can be. Of course, we're going to be in the traditional 59 or 50 frame spaces, but when you really get into 1080p, it opens up the doors to all of those different things you can do. Now, what we're doing is also leveraging a different GPU type that allows us some flexibility in what we do for the record format. But at the same time, when we do the codec, we're also recording always in 10-bit 444 HEVC. This is an incredible level of achievement. There's nobody doing this. Let's just say what it is. The fact that we're doing this at 50 megabits, it's as close to UHD you can get without being actually UHD, and poises you for being UHD ready. That being said, we can still export into some other different flavors or keep it into a native format, but it really lends itself to being super powerful just being in that different codec. So speed really seems to be the theme of this version of updates for 2.0 Replay. Also focusing on operators and making them faster as well. So to begin with, let's look at lists. To change the speed of a clip in a playlist, we simply select it, hit Control-R, and then type in the number that we want to change it to. So let's say 55, and it'll change that clip to 55%. But if we wanted to do more than one clip, we could select and do a Control Select or a Shift Select or Control and select whatever you want. All of the clips that get selected with the yellow band when I do a Control-R, and then type in the number, let's say 45, it'll add that speed to all of those clips. What's really nice is that even while the playlist is playing, that we can go ahead and select a clip and change it while the playlist is playing. And once that clip gets to the point where it's going to be played, it'll actually play back at that speed. So this is fantastic. The fact that it speeds up and really gets me to where I need to go in a much faster rate. Now, one other thing to choose as well is dividing a clip in a playlist. And what we can really do now is speed up and get rid of whip pans or get to a coach react that they shot right after a goal or shot on goal or whatever. But you get the idea that we can go ahead and at this point, if we wanted to, we could select it from here. And then I'm going to do a control and then divide key, the slash key. So control divide, and actually splits the clip from that point and gets me on the first frame of the second half of that clip. And now I can move further down within that clip if I want to, and then I can change and make that my new in point. And then you've just edited that shot into two pieces very, very quickly. So that was all with the control slash or control divide to divide a clip in a playlist. So two super fast features of just getting around and making things happen in playlists that make the operator that much faster. Another great update to 2.0 software is going to be importing a still frame and being able to use it just like you would a clip. So I'm going to go ahead and select an empty slot, click import, choose what I want here. So let's say this background, and it brings it in. And it uses the default duration, in this case 5 seconds, that the user sets up. But that's infinite. You can stretch that out to be as long as you want, but it's ready to be used. It's a clip. It plays back like a clip. And notice that it's not even 1920 by 1080. I didn't really make this image correctly, but we went ahead and backed it up with some black bars that are on the sides to make it more safe for video. But the idea is that now I could go ahead and drag and drop, put that even into a playlist, and it's right there being used just like a clip. So these could be a PNG, a JPEG, or a bitmap. Bring those in any different sizes, and we could go ahead and use them just like you would a clip. What I think is fantastic is that this is what it should be for a system, because it's more and more that we need to use stills to tell a story, especially if they're photos. And a lot of times you would end up having to type the switcher just to get a still image into a replay system. And it shouldn't be that hard. And of course, within Envivo Replay, it's not. Obviously, one of the main responsibilities of a replay operator is to document the event. And as we all know, sometimes things get missed. So we need to go back into the record trains of when things were recorded. One way is to select a clip that's in a bin, and we can drag and drop and put that right onto a player channel. And when we let go, it takes us back to when it was created, when it was recorded. And the in and out points are now fresh. We don't have any thumbnails. So now we can actually back up a little bit more, mark a new in point, go forwards, make that a really nice long clip so that I don't miss anything, mark an out point, and then make it a clip, label it, you get it. So the other thing that we can do, obviously, is we could shuttle. We could go back and shuttle very quickly back into the record trains and get into that area of when things were recorded. But another thing that we just came out with in this new update is to select or click actually right on timecode, and it opens up this little notepad. We can put that wherever we want, and it will show up there again. But the idea is that now you can go ahead and enter the timecode that you're looking for. So let's say I want to jump to 1916, let's say. I didn't have to add any punctuation. It's just 19 hours, 16 minutes, and hit enter. And it jumps us back to that moment in time. And now I'm a lot closer to wanting to create the clip or find the material that I was looking for, marking in, marking out, and make it a clip. So real fast and jumping around that way. Now, one other really nice feature that we've added also is something of a pre-roll. So if I select a clip and have it queued, I can actually just type -2 period, and that's for 2 seconds, and it jumps back 2 seconds on that clip. And now I've got a pre-roll of 2 seconds and I'm ready to play. So what's really nice is we can also do when we're in live, if we're on a point and we want to have something that's of a specific duration. So in this case, I'm going to mark an in, and I'm going to do +11 for 11 seconds. So I'm going to add the period there, hit enter, and it will jump forward 11 seconds exactly and mark an out and add clip. And I've clipped off now an 11-second clip. So that's really good when we're going to clip off some graphics or some other things that we do in pre-production, and we know we need it to be an exact amount. Then we can just mark that in, hit plus the amount of time that we want, add a period, and hit enter. So really straightforward. Once you use it once, you've learned it, and it's super simple. Adding marks just got more powerful. The add mark area is an idea that allows you to remember something that happened, a moment, an event, something that you really wanted to make sure that you went ahead and notarized. And it just gives you a quick way to jump back in that time and kind of look at it. And those are marks. What we also want to do is have the ability to add a mark, and maybe it's in offsides. So in this case, I'm going to hit add mark. I'm going to select that marker and open up properties, and we can turn on the pause. And I can have this window open if I wanted to and just kind of leave it off to the side. But the idea now is that when we do the slow motion replay, it will actually pause at that point, and then we can go ahead and then continue to do the replay and show, no, he was definitely on sides. Of course, that was a horrible play to show that on, but you get the idea. So here again, we can add marks and give them pause points. What's really powerful then is in more storytelling. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and queue up a clip. And as this clip runs along here on the B player, if I wanted to add a marker to this location, I'm going to hit add mark, select it, turn the pause on. I'm going to go along until, again, another pause point is going to be here as the ball comes back. I want to show position again, hit add mark, select it, turn on the pause. And now I'm going to go ahead and re-queue for the replay. So we're going to hit play on those. We're going to see the first freeze, play it. It's going to hit the second freeze point, play it, and you get the idea. Now that we can also support a pundit or an announcer giving some color commentation to what you just saw, and now you're really drawn in by having those freeze points built into that clip for you. And they're there for every time that we want to call that up. If we go to a different play and cue that up, and when we go back to that other play, those pause points are on there, and anytime we can go ahead and just turn those back off so that they don't interfere. And again, when we add those clips with pause points into a playlist, guess what? They get turned off automatically, which is a really nice feature to not have you stumble in a playlist because you forgot that you added some pause points. Audio being a very important part of everything that we do in replay systems. Some nice enhancements. One, of course, is going to be the VU meters now are color-coded, so they're taller, they're a little bit wider, but they're also, everything in the green is 12 dB or lower, and then you have, obviously, if you're going to go into the yellow, which I'm not displaying here, but of course, yellow is going to be a higher, more concerning audio, but that's going to be anything that's louder than minus 12 dB, and then once you get into the -5 range, it's going to be in red. So some really nice VU meters. They end up really nice and tall and gives you a better display of what you're looking at. Now also Dante audio is very important to what we do. So we're just going to go ahead and bring this up now and see here. There we go. And so when we look at Dante, we can use it for all of our ins and outs for everything. It uses the full matrix that you would expect to use with Dante. When we actually look at the setup in our setup tool, and here, if I go into the record settings, we can also change our audio to be from Dante. Then we get to choose any grid or any set if we're going to choose that many channels, or maybe if you wanted to do instead of 3 and 4, but we could do 1 and 2, turn these off and do it that way. So you have a real nice mix of what channels you want to use, up to 8 channels per video track. All right, one more thing to point out before I let you go, and that's controlling our system externally. So let's go to Setup and look at the player channels. And here we can go ahead and turn on our protocol. We can use Rosstalk or VDCP. Again, you have the connections for the network of what you're looking at, your socket port, what your Ethernet setup currently is. Again, if you go to Rosstalk, same setup. You can go ahead and choose whatever network connection that you have, what your port number is, and get that all set up. What's really fantastic about this also is that you can go ahead and set up a stream deck. So this way you can go ahead and use those same kind of Rosstalk or button commands for creating those control points, but really integrating it nicely into switcher timelines and getting that set up with a very simple network connection. And either player can obviously be set up in a different manner for whatever you wanted. So one could be Rosstalk for whatever reason, the other one being VDCP. I don't know why you would do that, but you can. And that's what's really nice about Envivo system. Always flexibility built into the system.